and good well, I guess it's still morning time. My name is meteorologist Heather Kay, and it's time for our daily hail forecast. Now we're doing this a little bit early. Nothing's wrong, everything's good. But yeah, let's do our forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, American Contractors Show, and Atlas Roofing. Thank you guys, as always, for sponsoring our videos. So let's get right into our weather headlines. We have a few areas that we're going to be watching for some marginally severe weather today, including from the Tennessee Valley eastward to Virginia and North Carolina. And then we have another area out west. And then getting into tomorrow, basically some of the same areas are going to be dealing with the chances for severe weather. So we'll talk about that as well. And then lastly, I know I've been a broken record about this, but that heat dome continues to dominate in the south, but there could be some, at least some temporary relief within the next few days, so we'll talk about that as well. But before we get into the forecast, we do have one event coming up. This is going to be tomorrow down in Orlando, Florida. This is the Riva, the roofing machine at the Rosen Center Hotel. So make sure you come on by and say hi to us there. So let's take a look at yesterday's storm reports. We had a good amount of activity. Most of it was wind, and we did have a few scattered hail reports as well. The first area that we're going to take a look at is here in the northeast. We had a few scattered wind reports as well as a few hail reports from basically Vermont to New Hampshire, Maine, southward to Massachusetts, down into parts of the New York City area, and then a big swath of wind reports here from parts of Maine and the DC area down into Virginia and the Carolinas. And then we had a few scattered reports here in the northern plains, just west of Bismarck and up into Montana, and one lonely hail report in basically almost the middle of nowhere, unfortunately, here in Colorado. So here are our current conditions across the lower 48. It's quite active out there. We have this stalled out front basically taking it's just setting shop here in the middle of the country, and there's a lot of moisture associated with this. We also have a little cold front here up in the northern plains. So we're going to zoom right into this area. First, a lot of heavier shower and even some thunderstorm activity ongoing right now from St. Louis eastward into parts of southern Illinois and Indiana, eastward into Kentucky, as well as getting into the Virginia. As you can see, a nasty line here of storms. None of this is warned at this time, although I thought I just saw a warning maybe somewhere. But for the most part, this is not severe at this very moment. And then we have some more showers going on up here in parts of Nebraska and up into South Dakota and Wyoming, as well as a few showers way up there in northwestern Minnesota. So here are current temperatures across the country. Very cool across the northern part of the U.S. And then south of that front, you can see those temperatures starting to warm up. 85 in Atlanta, 92 in Dallas. And then we go north of that front there, it's only 70 in Kansas City. And you guys have been dealing with that rain as well, so that's been keeping the temperatures lower in addition to that front just being to your south. And then with the dew points, it's very sticky, very humid. 70-degree dew point in Atlanta. And look at that, 77-degree dew point in Miami. Very sticky and uncomfortable. 75-degree dew point here in New Orleans. You go north of that front, though, and it's a lot more comfortable with dew points in the upper 50s to lower 60s. So here is our future radar. I have a few of these to show you. Again, one particular run, this one particular model. We have all that rain basically in place from central Missouri eastward across the Ohio Valley. That's going to continue over the next few hours here. And then it'll start to lessen a little bit in terms of widespread activity, but we could see some redevelopment of some stronger to marginally severe weather in parts of southern Ohio into the Virginias, westward to parts of Kentucky and even some redevelopment in southern Missouri. And then continuing on through the evening, we'll continue to see some more firing of storms. Nothing too crazy is expected. That atmosphere is, starting to kind of lose that oomph, but there still is some instability along and south of that front. So that's where we're going to be watching for that severe weather. And it will continue to move off to the east as we go into the overnight, and then we'll see another round of precipitation and some possibly marginally severe weather as we get to daybreak overnight and into tomorrow morning. And then going out west, a few showers are ongoing right now. Then getting into within the next few hours, we should be okay. Overall, it should be mostly dry. But then as we get to about 6 p.m. Central Time, you can see these individual cells are expected to fire here in central Nebraska and maybe some activity down in northwestern Kansas. And then continue through the evening, basically some of the same areas here from Nebraska to northeastern Colorado, maybe as far south as northwestern Kansas. We can see some. This is the area that we'll be watching for the strongest storms this evening. And then we'll have some more activity in parts of eastern Nebraska as well as Iowa and Minnesota, although this activity for the most part will, I think, stay below severe limits, but there is a chance for some gusty winds up there. And then getting into the overnight, that activity will continue to move off to the east. Kansas City, you will get another round of rain and storms as we get into the overnight hours, and that will move off to the east as we get into tomorrow morning. This is at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. It looks like some more storms will start to fire up in Nebraska once again. So here is today's hail forecast. We basically just have this one area here in the Central Plains from most of Nebraska down to parts of northeastern Colorado, northwestern Kansas, eastward here to basically where Nebraska and South Dakota and Iowa meet. Up to quarter-size hail, maybe up to half-dollar size hail is possible here. And then in terms of when do we have a few more areas, as well as some, larger areas. I think wind is going to be the biggest thing today. The first area is right here along the Tennessee Valley, and basically from parts of central and southern Missouri eastward into Kentucky, Tennessee, all the way to Virginia and North Carolina, where we can see up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts with those strongest storms along and south of that stalled out front. So Nashville, Charlotte, northeastward to Richmond, you guys can see those 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts there. And then the second area is up in the Central Plains from basically North Platte, northeastward to Sioux Falls, just to the south of Minneapolis. We can see up to 60-mile-per-hour gusts with any activity that reaches severe limits there. Now getting into tomorrow, we're going to wake up and basically it's going to be a lot of the same areas that are seeing severe storms today are going to be under the gun again tomorrow, as well as maybe some areas further north as well. So this is at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Some showers and storms will be ongoing, again, across basically the same areas that we'll be dealing with today. So Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, westward to Illinois and Indiana and Missouri. And we'll continue to see that activity as we go through the afternoon and then into the evening hours. This is at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern time. You can see some stronger storms firing up here. So Pittsburgh, you're going to be on the very northern edge of the severe risk for tomorrow. That will go westward into central Ohio, Cincinnati, westward to Indianapolis. And then as we go throughout the rest of the evening, you can see the activity will continue to fire up and move off to the east here. And again, those same areas that we're going to be watching today, we'll also see the potential tomorrow from West Virginia down to Kentucky. Severe storms will once again be possible there. And then we'll get through the overnight hours, and I think a lot of that heat and instability will of course be worn off, and so those storm the severity of those storms should be below severe limits, if I can talk. And then getting out into the Central Plains, again, we'll see some storms firing up near daybreak, and those storms will be ongoing in central Nebraska as we get our morning going, and then they'll move off to the southeast as we get into our afternoon hours, and then around 4 p.m. Central Time, you can see those individual cells once again forming in some of the same areas that we're going to be seeing today, and then getting into around 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, those storms will continue to move off to the southeast. Some storms in the Denver area as well, although I think we're not expecting anything in terms of severe weather, you guys, tomorrow. It's just some general thunderstorms, unfortunately. And then we'll continue to go through the evening and get into the overnight hours. Some heavier storms are going to be ongoing here in parts of Colorado and Nebraska, parts of Iowa down to Kansas. So it's basically some of the same areas here. And then getting into the overnight hours into Thursday morning, those storms will go to the southeast, bringing some much needed rain into Kansas, and that will continue to move south as well. So here is tomorrow's hail forecast. Let's get right into it. We have 2 areas that we'll be watching. The first one will be from Missouri to Illinois, eastward to central Indiana, Ohio, southward to Kentucky. So there'll be at least some chance of hail tomorrow compared to today, where I think it's going to be mostly a wind threat. So $1.25 to $1.5 size hail is possible in this region, eastward to Charleston, northward to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then the second area, basically almost the same as today, will be from Cheyenne to North Platte, Nebraska. And in terms of wind, the same 2 areas. This is what we deal with when we have a stalled out front. Those risks don't really move a whole lot. The first area is once again going to be from Missouri, so St. Louis. You guys can see some storms tomorrow with up to 60 mile per hour wind gusts and that $1.25 to $1.5 size hail. Paducah, Kentucky, eastward to Cincinnati, Ohio, all the way to Charleston and northward to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then that same risk here from Cheyenne to North Platte, where again 60 mile per hour wind gusts will be possible there. So we've been dealing with the heat, and it's going to continue to be hot out there. That heat is once again, continuing to build up here in the south, where we have more excessive heat warnings. We have some heat advisories out as well. So make sure that if you're in these areas that you continue to take your heat precautions and stay indoors if you can. So here's a future jet stream. Let's see if there's any relief in sight. Well, we have this large trough here in the parts of Canada, and this is going to continue to move off to the east-southeast. So it's going to dig on down here as we get into tomorrow. And then as we get into Thursday, you can see it moves off to the east a little bit, but it's not really moving a whole lot. So once we get into Thursday, we're going to see some of the same areas that we're going to see today and tomorrow to again see the potential for some severe weather. And then getting into Friday, it's trying to move east, you guys. It's going to continue to move off to the east. And you can see those colors are going to drop off a little bit here in the south. We are expecting some showers and storms to move in as we get into Friday and into our weekend, which will cool down our temperatures temporarily. As we get into the beginning of next week, unfortunately, those warm temperatures will rebound into the hundreds once again. But I mean, at least a little bit of a break is welcome, and we need that rain. And then as we get into Saturday, that main trough is moving on out. You can see another little one here in the Central Plains, and that will move off to the east as we get into Sunday. So, like I just said, on Thursday we have basically some of the same areas that we're going to be watching for severe weather today and tomorrow for Thursday. So parts of Missouri down to northern Arkansas, eastward into the Tennessee Valley and into western parts of the Virginias. This will be the area that we'll be watching Thursday for another round of severe weather. So I believe that is all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you guys are in areas that are getting some rain if it's been really hot. I know we need it here. We're waiting. Otherwise, yeah, just follow us here on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We've been trying to come up with some really fun content with you guys there. If you have any questions, concerns, if you just want to say hi, you can give us a call at 855-334-4245. You can email us at info@hailtrace.com and check out our website at www.hailtrace.com. And I am meteorologist Heather Kay. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.